Hello everyone, welcome to lecture 12. Today we'll be studying about the library of Pandas. Pandas essentially encompasses all the data frame related operations in Python, and we'll be using Pandas in Jupyter Notebook environment. So let us just first of all open a new Jupyter Notebook in Python. Let us name this as Pandas 101. Okay, this should do it. Do we have a data file here? Yes, we have data file called data underscore cleanup. Let us begin by creating simple pandas data frame. Okay, just to begin again, I'm going to make this a markdown cell and I'm going to write pandas 101 here. So this would become a markup cell. I would make this as a markdown cell as well. And I'm going to paste here and we'll begin essentially. So let's talk what's happening here. Let me just load this once and then we'll talk. Okay, so this is here us importing pandas as PD. So PD is the alias name. Wherever we refer PD dot something, we are referring to pandas library. So this is basically a dictionary data set, and we have loaded this into PD dot data frame data frame. So basically, which is pandas dot data frame data. So this dictionary would become a data frame, and we are printing it. Let's see. Yeah, this is interesting. I don't know why it's taking too much time. Okay, yeah. So you can see that yeah, calories is the column name and duration is the column name, and that we have done it here. Okay. Also, then we need to understand that there is rows and indexes. So let us understand that what are rows and indexes here. So for rows and indexes, what you need to understand as it's a data frame, it's rows and column, and indexes basically means like an ID to that a particular location. Okay. So df.loc1, this should give first row. LOC square bracket open 01 should give the first element of the second element of the first row, because if you remember, indexes start with 0. So let us first differentiate between these two. What I do sometimes is I put something like this so that I'm able to differentiate between two elements, right? So the first row is 42050 color duration exactly, and this would give you first and second row, right? So this is row and indexing. You can also index by a name. So if you have indexes as day 1, day 2, day 3, you can basically call indexes as well. Just do this on your own once. Reading a CSV in JSON files. Okay, and we'll talk about a few things here. So let's just first let me just mark this down. Okay, reading CSV. Now we do have a CSV here. It's called data, if I remember, cleanup. Let's go in. This is for the check. Okay, D capital is there. Okay, so we'll so you can see we printed this data frame here. Okay, what we can do also is just because okay, pandas has some capabilities, we can do this as well. Okay, this displays max rows. Okay, so how many maximum rows you can see? So you can see 60 max rows here. So there were 30 rows in this that we have printed. There are a lot of unnamed columns here that should not be here. We'll rectify this one. So okay, so we'll do that. So reading CSV there. Let's analyze data frame. So before we do that, let us just show you an operation which is used. Okay, let us just see what is this. Okay, so you can see that these are column names. Again, we have some unnamed columns. So how are we going to remove them? Let us see. What we'll do is we'll say, okay, just let this be df. So I'm naming this one, the one we did read as df temp, and I'm going to do this. Okay. And what I'm going to do is df is equal to df underscore temp, and I'm going to put these inside here. Okay. Let's just see what happens if I do this. As you can see, I have been able to just get these columns that I have mentioned, and now I have the correct data frame, right? So what happens is sometimes when we input CSV, it doesn't get correctly formatted. The CSV I made wasn't correct, formatted correctly. Now I have the data here. Okay, so let's look at the data. What is this? We'll analyze this. So head and tail essentially will analyze. Head means the top of data and bottom means the bottom of, like tail means the bottom of data. Okay, so let me just show you this head and tail operation. Okay, so this would first, oh sorry, 10 rows of head. Okay, if I don't give this, it will just give one row. If I don't give this, it will give 5 rows. Okay, similarly with tail as well, tail 10 rows, tail 0 rows doesn't give 0, tail default gives 5. Okay, so if I do 3, it will give you last 3 rows. Okay, that's head and tail. If I want to see info about data, this is very interesting. We should see this. Okay, let us see this. Let me make this a markdown cell. Okay, so as you can see, the information is that it's a data frame. Index range from 0 to 31, 32 entries. There are 4 data columns. Duration, which has 32. Null integers. Date has 31. So there is one null in date. Remember, there is one null value in date. Pulse, max pulse. Data type is integer 64, and one is object. Probably the date is an object. Memory usage is somewhere around 1.1 KB. This would give you all the information is there. Okay. Let us do analysis of some data frames. Okay. So let us do this analysis of data frame. So how do we analyze the data frame sometimes? One thing is this, again would give me a 5-point summary. I'm sorry, I did not close the function. So you can see 32 element in duration, 32 element in pulse, 32 element in max pulse. The mean is this, standard deviation is this, minimum is this, 25 percentile, 50th percentile. Essentially, it is a measure of a box plot. Okay. Now let's figure out, and you can see it does not do it for date. Why? Because date is not a numeric column. These commands only work on numeric. So you can see that this gives correlation code statistical concept. So you can see that obviously this is the identity row. So duration is obviously perfectly correlated with duration and so on. But you can see there is slight correlation between pulse and max pulse, but there is no correlation between duration and max pulse and so on. So this is something known as correlation. What correlation will give you is two numerical columns when together, how correlated they are. Okay. So this is not that big a thing. You can easily do it. Let me just download this file for your references as such. No assignment right now, just some Panda operation. If you want to try, you can try. And that would be all for today. Thank you guys. See you in the next lecture.